Power Moves with Dr. Gladney, the show that the world has been waiting for. Dr. Gladney is the world-renowned emotional wellness expert, CEO of 24 Karat Speakers, author, and power mover. Each episode will feature extraordinary guests who've created success by making moves that led them to their power. Put on your seatbelt and get ready for the ride of your life as you are inspired and motivated to move to your greatness.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Power Moves with Dr. Gladney. You know, here we discuss all about power and making those moves that is going to move you to your greatness. You know, I always bring an incredible guest that can tell us how they made their moves. When I made my move from teaching, from education to stepping out on my own, it totally transformed my life. And it changed me. And all along the way, I continued to make those power moves. But it's generally that one decision that you make that will change the trajectory of your life. And we love talking about it. And you know, this is educational, inspirational, motivational, every-ational that you can think of that we bring on Power Moves with Dr. Gladney. And I am delighted to introduce my next guest. So excited, can't wait for you to hear his story and his power moves. We have with us today John Steinmetz. He is the CEO of Vista Bank. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Dr. Gladney. What a very kind introduction and positive message already this morning.
I'm telling you, John, I'm so excited. I have to tell everybody how we first met.
Please.
Because when you think of a bank, you think of a CEO of a bank. I'm just going to put it out there. I know things are changing, times are changing. What you think of is a stuffy suit and a tie, and you're sitting behind a desk.
Boring, boring, boring.
I know. That is not how we met.
That's right.
We met, it's been a couple of years. And the time that we met, and this, I love destiny. When I tell you, I just love how things are orchestrated and people come together at the time that they're supposed to. And so we met when the world was in turmoil. When I tell you turmoil was going on, it was right after the George Floyd murder. And we were in Dallas. And one of the businesses had been affected and had been a lot of damage done. And so there was a call out for people to come and help to clean. And so I got my daughter, packed her up, said, we're going to do what we need to do to help not only heal, because everywhere I go, I'm trying to heal with my words, but we're going to do some work with our hands. Got there, and it was this team of people everywhere with these shirts on. And I was like, well, first of all, the shock, and I'm a very authentic person, because the team, a lot of the team was mainly Caucasian, and this was a Black-owned business, and the Black Chamber had called us out to come and help. So I'm expecting a whole different look of people.
Absolutely.
And when I saw you guys, I didn't know who you were, and we got there, and I called myself saying, oh, they're not gonna be on time. We could be there all day. You all had almost finished everything. And I'm like, well, who are these people? That's when I met, and I said, oh my God, the heart of this man. Tell me about that day. Tell me what that was before we get into who you are.
Well, first of all, that was an interesting day. And much like you brought your daughter, I was moved by a number of these small business owners, some of which were clients and some that weren't. Those that are willing to risk their entire life savings to live their dream out of being a small business owner. And this particular small business owner happened to be a client of Vista Bank. And those shirts you saw was Vista Outreach. And fortunately or unfortunately, it was made up of a team of mainly Caucasians. And today we work diligently through our outreach programs, some of which stemmed from that day. And I had my son there, as you may recall,
Yes,
who
I do.
is 12 today. So I guess he was about 9.5, and I can assure you he had no interest in going downtown to clean up what was actually, sadly, looked like a war zone.
Yes,
right? I mean,
yes.
this is our community, a community that has had made so many great strides in so many areas, and I commend our city leadership for that. And in one day,
It was
just destroyed. And to watch that business owner look at her store was a heartbreaking moment. But I will tell you, it's one that not only changed my life on that particular situation in my perspective, but also the perspective of my son and our entire team. And so it was a great day. It was neat to see so many people volunteer to come out and be a part of it. And I thought the Black Chamber of Commerce did a great job, and I'm incredibly proud to be associated with so many amazing Vista teammates that actually also volunteered to come out and pick up glass and help put together what was an absolute mess.
Yes,
Right?
yes. But you guys had done so much. And finding out that you were the CEO, I was just like, what I had in my mind, what the bank CEO is supposed to look like. You have made a lot of strides and done a lot in your life. I'm going to just throw out some of the stuff. You seem like you've broken some records and done some stuff here. First of all, you were the first non-family member that was appointed. So that says a whole lot because, listen, it seems like if you're born into the right family, life could be great. But if you're not, then you don't get the succession.
Amen. But I wasn't born into that. I was born into a great family that taught me a work ethic, but not one that was from a banking background.
Isn't that something? But you came on, and then you started to expand because it was mainly seemed like it was agricultural, but you wanted to say, hey, we need to expand that more. And so you started growing some numbers, approaching, okay, get this, 550% growth. Do you all understand what that means? 550% growth. And what you have been able to do.
We have been able to do.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
But we all know it's the top down. It's the leader that leads. And so I understand we definitely want to acknowledge team, but it comes from the top. It comes from the head. And as I looked at a lot of what you've been able to accomplish, and I think now you're the largest in Texas, Main Street.
We were the largest Main Street lenders through the CARES Act in the state. And what's really impressive about that is not that Vista Bank did that, but it did it on the heels of PPP.
Yes.
And if you think back to what this country's been through, not only when we met in the turmoil that was associated with that, but then the coronavirus and the impact that has had on small businesses. Bankers were not able to really work from home. They were not able to take a break because those that put the economy on their back each and every day, entrepreneurs like yourself, needed access to PPP loans. And quite frankly, the CARES Act was a breakout moment for our company because it allowed us to show something that I've always truly believed, and that is that pound for pound, as Mayweather says, we are the greatest bank in the greatest state. So I don't know what that says about the company, but I truly believe our team, pound for pound, is greatness. And the CARES Act allowed us to actually get out there and show the community, regardless of the business size, what we're capable of. And we have been benefiting greatly from that. So
that is wonderful. I mean, that is some wonderful stuff. So tell us how you got involved in banking. Was that what you went to school for? What does that look like? I don't meet a lot of people that says, I want to be a banker.
Well, unfortunately, there is a huge shortfall of folks because, as you know, in Texas, we had a banking crisis in the late 80s, and I'm 44 today, and there's just not a lot of peers that elected to go into this space. But I will tell you, I did not grow up wanting to be a banker. I always liked finance. My father spent 21 years in the Air Force. My mother was a TGI Fridays waitress.
Wow.
They got
okay.
divorced while my sister and I were at a pretty young age. And what I learned through that process was that I really wanted to do whatever it took to not have the same financial strains that my family did. So I worked hard in college, had the opportunity to be student body president, and I was going to work on Wall Street. I was very fortunate to get an offer to go to Wall Street, and it was right after 9/11. I was going to do a short stint at the White House as an intern.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I did that. And while I was there, about 3 months into a 9-month commitment, I got a call that said, hey, you know what, we're about to have a hiring freeze because this 9/11 thing was real and it's really impacting our business and the economy. So we're going to have a hiring freeze. If you can come, you come now. I said, absolutely. Called my father, had already sold my car, and told him, Pops, I need to move. And he said, son, I haven't been able to give you a lot with respect to the financials, but what I can tell you is your mom and I did teach you a man's only to do his own word, and you committed to 9 months. And so I stuck it out, and I'm grateful I did. And an amazing businessman, entrepreneur, and bank CEO, Alan White, the founder of Plains Capital Bank, gave me a chance to get into banking, and it was back here in Texas, and it wasn't my first choice, but it turned out to be all right. So trust in a higher power, good Lord in my case.
Absolutely.
And it all worked out the way it's supposed to.
Wow. So it was
Zigzag.
some zigzagging that goes along there. Let me ask you this. When did you realize your greatness in leading and being able to influence? When did you realize your greatness?
Well, I have to genuinely tell you, I do not believe that I possess greatness. I believe that
John,
I believe that the good Lord has given me an opportunity to impact people, and I want to do the best I can while I'm in a position to do that. But I will tell you, probably when I began to really understand people, and I've had some really cool opportunities in life that I don't completely deserve, but it was when I was working at Bennigan's as a busser and waiter.
Remember Bennigan's?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was waiting tables, and you know what a lot of people today don't really understand is that as a waiter, you wait on a lot of different people.
Yes.
You wait on everyone from the well-to-do, and it doesn't surprise me one bit that you did that.
Yes.
And our 2 children will as well. But you know, you have to build a relationship with the hostess, because the hostess and host get to decide whether you get a 4-top at your 4-top or a 2-top at your 2-top.
Yeah.
You get to double your income if you get a 4-top, right?
Absolutely.
And if you build a relationship with those that are working in the kitchen that may not have the same education, they can decide how fast your food gets out, which determines when you're able to turn your tables quicker than those that you're competing against. And so that was when I first decided or learned that, stop worrying about kissing butt to the top and worry about the people that are maybe beneath
making
you,
it happen.
and they will lift you up faster than you can be kissed up.
Wait. That's a lesson. Did you hear him say that stop worrying about the people at the top, but the people that can lift you up, that you may not think they're on your level.
Yep.
But they're the ones that's going to lift. Ooh, you don't even know how powerful that lesson was right there.
I got to give credit to my mother for that. She said, look, no one ever strained their back getting pushed up. They strain their back trying to get pulled up. And so, if you anticipate sacrifice and do it consistently, fortunately in 2022, it's a whole lot easier to be successful than it was back even then, when you were getting started.
Absolutely.
And so that's, I hope that answers your question.
Well, so what I heard you say, this is humility. It also takes humility to really be great. That doesn't mean that there aren't some egotistical people that we think that are great out there. We look and we say, oh, they're successful, they have all this. But what I heard you say is you don't think that you're great. You don't yet. Well,
I want to get there.
So listen, let me just put this in perspective.
Right.
The greatness that God put within you is your gift.
Amen.
And to be able, and these are numbers, but they mean something. The growth, the things that you've been able to accomplish in the place in the position that you were placed, that's where you shine. But I love the humility part of it, to say, oh, let's see, I was great from the beginning, but some people on this journey, they realize it at different places.
Okay.
And you say, okay, I'm gifted. I have a lot of gifts and talents, and I have the gift to influence people. And that's that gift of leadership. A lot of people can learn leadership skills, but when you innately have it put in you and you knew from the time, like I did, I could influence the kids on the playground.
Yep.
That's your greatness. That's a gift.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, like, one of the things that we try to do at Vista Bank is we really focus on financial literacy. I believe there's oftentimes too much focus on just making loans to people that may or may not be qualified.
Yes.
Or may not be qualified, but we need to extend them credit. If we don't teach them to fish, they will come back.
And need some
my
more
mother
money.
was one of those people. Okay, she filed bankruptcy, and I knew that I did not want to answer the phone to bill collectors and tell them they weren't there.
Right.
So it taught me a great lesson, and I think today it makes me a more compassionate yet also disciplined banker, and helps me lead. And look, everyone's got an ego. I do. I fight it every day. But but at the end of the day, it's really about putting people first.
Well, you're doing a great job. Let me ask you
very
this.
much.
What was that one move that you believe that led you to where you are today? Called your power move. It's usually that one thing that we do that you say, this is how I got on this course.
When I was a child, my mom, we grew up in Fort Worth at Carswell Air Force Base, and my mother would drive us through Westover Hills, and we got to look at the Christmas lights.
Okay.
Or if we parked at the Ridgemar Mall, we'd park and walk through Neiman Marcus. And she'd always say, if you work hard, you can shop here.
You can buy something in
But
here.
we would cut through, and then we go to JCPenney's, right?
Okay, yes.
But we got to see it, and I
Yes.
think that was for your viewers and for mothers and fathers out there, regardless of where you're from, people believe what they're told. So if they're told on a daily basis that they're not good enough, which by the way, I've done with my own children. Work harder. You're not good enough.
Right.
If we go back to the basics, the reason you are where you are is because of that power move.
Absolutely.
I don't know what that one move was, but I do know that taught me at a very young age, Dr. Gladney, that I could do anything, and it gave me that motivation that one day I want to be able to afford to live in one of these homes. And I can tell you today, thanks be to the good Lord, that is the case. But I will tell you what really I think is the biggest power defining moment was when we along with 7 other banks were involved in a large fraud that a client ultimately took a lot of money, and it was a very difficult time in the company.
Yeah.
And it was a time when our amazing board could have said, it's time for a change.
Yes.
Because like you said, it starts at the top.
Stop. They're like, okay.
Or, and I will say, they said, you know what, we're going to be focused on, we've been good, striving for greatness for some time. And when I saw that grace, and I knew that 157 people invested in our success, that's one of the reasons we were the #1 Main Street lender, because we were not giving up. And I think if you look back on your career and those that are helping produce this show, it's always that time of adversity when you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you wonder, am I capable of more? And that is the most recent, 4 years ago, that really set us on a trajectory, I think, to where we are today and where we'll go in the future.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, when we come back, I want to ask you, how do you maintain your emotional wellness?
Okay.
That is always important to me as the emotional wellness doctor to understand. How do you keep that balance? So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back.
24 Karat Speakers is an elite speakers agency that represents women of color. Our agency offers boutique services to our buyers and speakers that include powerful speakers, training, product development, and client management. Our world-class speakers are experts in content and messaging and are uniquely trained to motivate audiences and excite the brain for impactful learning. Colorful women, powerful messages, changing the world. To hire one of these amazing women, go to www.24caratspeakers.com and let us help you create your world-class event.
So we're back and want to find out in all that you do, and especially, 75 to 90% of all your sickness and disease start with emotions and stress. The top two stressors in life are finances and relationships. And you can put finances even above relationships. Finances are huge. You being in the financial industry and seeing a lot. And you see a lot of devastation. You see a lot of people that lose it all, can't get loans, and you have to balance so much. How do you maintain your emotional wellness?
Well, I get up every morning and spend a little time in the good book, and I think that gives you balance to start your day. I've always believed, the early bird gets the worm, and so I get up early, whether I want to or not. I do exercise in the morning before I get going. I don't know if that is what causes your ability to have that emotional wellness. But look, at the end of the day, I struggle with the exact same things that everyone else does. Some put on a better face. I feel pain. I want to see people be successful. But I think it's making time to just take a deep breath each day. You're really good about this, and you give some great lessons on emotional wellness. And I'd encourage anyone to spend more time with you if they haven't. But I think it's about making time for yourself and really just focusing on, regardless of the win or loss, it's all a part of a life. And so that's really what. Sleep is not something I get very often.
Oh my!
Some say sleep is there, but I think it's a little bit overrated.
Oh, he thinks it's overrated. Listen, don't pay attention to that part. You have to get your sleep.
I've heard that a lot.
Some people's bodies, can operate on less, but the majority of us, listen, people, we need our beauty rest. Okay, I'm telling you.
You're the doctor, not me. So
we need our sleep, and I appreciate that, John. So he understands and knows in some of the strategies and things of teaching and working with your people. Let me ask you, what would you say is the one thing that people should not do when they're trying to figure their life out? What is the one thing people should not do? They should avoid.
Focusing on the immediate satisfaction or outcome. In most cases, you said money and relationships. Let's start with money.
Yes.
Most people today are looking for instant gratification. And one of the things I'm the most proud of at Vista is our team has one of the highest retentions in our industry.
Wow.
It's not because we pay more than anyone else. It's because we try to create an environment where people come first.
Okay.
I think oftentimes, in particular with the next generation, they are focused on the $5,000 raise, the $4 an hour more. And I get it. Like, there is a defining moment in time with finances that you have to do that. But for those that are over that pinnacle, and when you're there, don't make decisions based off of just monetary reasons. Because to your point, it is probably number one, closely challenged by relationships. And anyone that's honest tells you, look, being a parent, being a spouse is difficult. That's why there's so much admiration for these couples that you see that are married for 25, 50, 70 years. I mean, it doesn't come without hard work.
Right. You're right. So avoid focusing on the moment and the temporary fix. But we live in such a society right now where it's so difficult to teach the millennials and anybody below the Gen Z, Gen X, whomever.
That's right.
It's difficult because everything is instant. It's instant gratification. You push a button, you do this. We got touch screens. I mean, goodness gracious, we didn't grow up.
We got a
with
Wikipedia,
this. I know,
entire encyclopedia.
We didn't
right
grow up with any of
No.
those. We had to look through the Britannica encyclopedia. I am aging myself, and that is okay.
Yeah.
I can remember when they would knock on the door and sell the encyclopedia. Now you just have it at your fingertips. People can be Googling while they're driving, which is not something you should do. But I'm saying that's how instant it is. So it's difficult to teach people not to want this now and not to just focus on the money because they know what the money can bring because our society has become so materialistic. But that's good. So avoid doing that. Now, what is the one thing that people should do?
Take advantage of. You mentioned, I remember when they would come to the door and sell encyclopedias. There were probably few families that could afford an entire set of encyclopedia,
you're so right?
They were so technology has allowed us to have information at really no cost. You know, there's podcasts, there's great shows. Reading doesn't take much. We still have libraries today. Sometimes I wonder why. Because of technology. But I will tell you, if you take the time to read, if you take the time to educate yourself, self-help, self-awareness, focus on your strengths while also recognizing your weaknesses. I will tell you, if I had not done that, and be persistent, I would have never been given the opportunity that I received at 29 to be president of a bank, and then
wait,
later,
at 29?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, 29. Okay, 29 is when you started your presidency at the bank. Wow.
Okay, well, I made a lot of mistakes, and it was a great family giving me an opportunity that I didn't deserve. But I think that if people know that you're going to work harder than them, and by the way, in 2022, it is a lot more challenging than it was when my parents were going through. Everyone grinds. Everyone's grinding. Today, there are so few people that work hard. At 8 to 5, if I look in our parking lot at 5 o'clock, most
everybody's
people
gone.
head home.
They gone.
And you know what? It's so easy to stand out. And so anyways, I think that it's, and you don't have to stay 4 hours later. Stay an extra hour. But, you know, I think that's...
I would love to just keep talking because I want to pick some more out of your brain because this was a journey. And all of our lives are a journey. But this wasn't a planned journey for you. Opportunity. I had a poster on my wall because when we grew up, everybody had posters. And my poster is one of my mantras, the secret to success is to be ready when opportunity
when your number is called.
Yes.
You
have to be ready. So you have to do the work prior. But it's hard for people to wrap their mind around a 29-year-old that done the work to be ready to take on, to be the president of a bank. So
I don't know that I was ready. I will tell you, I still don't know that I'm ready for the position that I've been in for the last 7 years. You know, I think that luck never hit a man standing in the shade. And what's so funny is you may or may not have known my background, but when most people look at a bank CEO, especially when you're younger, they think that you were born into a banking family.
Yes.
And look, I like that because those people typically don't work very hard.
No.
So you know what? Think
they
what you may.
it.
But I think that what's amazing is, you know, to your point, you create your own opportunities. And, you know, I look out in your audience and there's a friend of mine, Lubbock Smith, who you know, grew up in Oak Cliff and quite frankly, had a lot against him. But he is probably as good a father and husband as I've met. And today he's building a new home in Oak Cliff to stay in the community because he wants to change.
That's great.
And be an example of what can be done. And so back to, you know, our original conversation, we met at very difficult times and divided our country. when our country was as divided as I've ever seen it in my lifetime.
Yes.
And really how we can do it is just by working together. And I learned this through one of your sessions, you know, and it just being genuine.
Right.
We're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Authentic. We're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely. And you have done that. What is your next, John?
I want to be a better father and husband than I have been trying to build a company for investors and an amazing board that's given me opportunities that I don't deserve. But I would say that professionally, I want to build and continue to spotlight the amazing organization that I get to be a part of every day. You know, our clients, we have 17,400 plus clients today.
Wow, that's great.
You know, and there are probably banks that have 10 times that amount. But I am very grateful for those that gave us the opportunity to earn their business and do what we love. And if someone doesn't love doing what we do, then we would encourage them at Vista to go find a place or find an industry that they do.
Yeah.
Because authenticity is very
Absolutely.
easily seen. So I'm just honored to be here with you today. I'm so grateful that you do what you do and the way you do it. And I appreciate the impact you're making on our community.
Yes, and I appreciate you as well and what you're doing and this conversation. I'm so delighted that you joined us today. Hopefully people have gotten those nuggets. I tried to pick them out to say, hey, it's really about hard work, ethic, being prepared, even though you don't feel like you were prepared enough for somebody to believe in you. And that's what we have to do, is have yourself and carry yourself in such a manner that people can believe in you and your vision and your potential. So this is great, and we appreciate all that you all are doing for the community. Again, this is the CEO of Vista Bank, and I was so privileged and honored to be able to meet him at a time when our lives were just upheaval. But you know what? From the ashes, when things burn, from the ashes comes the greatness.
Amen.
And so you have been helping us today to move people to their greatness. So thank you again, John.
You're too good.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Power Moves with Dr. Gladney. Now, you know, me sitting always in my pink power chair to help to motivate and move you to your greatness. Until our next episode, you have a powerful day.
Thank you for joining us for today's Power Moves with Dr. Gladney. For more information or to contact Dr. Gladney, go to www.drgladney.com. Or to hire a 24-karat speaker, go to www.24caratspeakers.com. We'll see you next time.